Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kristyn and Ryan here with a new podcast episode.
What up?
We are still doing our series on the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. We are talking about chapter 6 today, which is titled The Inner Body. So we're going to jump into that. Today is June 19th, 2020. It is Juneteenth today, so happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Sending lots of love out there.
Yes.
Yes.
To everybody. Everybody that want it.
And especially those that are black.
Oh yeah, y'all get the special Juneteenth love.
Yeah.
We gonna send our radiant black powers, our radiant love over to y'all.
All the energy.
Yeah.
So, but for real though, happy Juneteenth. Hope all y'all had a good day today. So, let's jump into this chapter.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So, this is all about the inner body. And it's talking about how, or Eckhart talks about being rooted in your body and being connected to your body, which leads you to being connected to your inner body, which is your true self, your essence, your consciousness.
All right. One thing real quick though.
Yes.
The bodies. Should we specify early to kind of determine the difference between the two? Because he mentions body a lot in here.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've gotten lost on which one he was talking about. Because he talks about the inner body.
Yeah.
But then he talks about our actual physical
inner
body.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if we should kind of specify, because I'm sure we're gonna say body a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but he kind of, to me, I've found it very clear what he was saying. Like when he's talking about the inner body or the outer body. A lot of the chapter, he is talking about the physical body, but he's talking about it as being the vessel into getting into the inner body.
Okay.
So what other definition is there besides the physical body?
Yeah.
And then you have your inner body.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Because he'll say body, but then I don't know. Like for me, I've ran into instances where I had a hard time kind of deciphering the two.
Okay.
Because he'll say body, but it's like almost in a generic sense. But
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when we go through this, if there's a part in there where it needs to be clarified, then I guess we can talk about that. Or if there's some parts that stood out to you where the confusion happened.
Okay.
But okay, so just jumping into the chapter, starts on page 107. The first section is being is your deepest self. And I cracked up when I love some of his responses to some of these answers, because they just be so matter of fact and like just cut and dry.
Yeah, it makes the person that asks look stupid.
Well, and I don't think that's his intention, but it's really just to simplify it. Like, yeah. I mean, so in talking about what is being and what does it mean to be rooted. So the questioner asks Eckhart, I am still not quite sure, or he states, doesn't ask. He states, I'm still not sure if I fully understand what you mean by being. And Eckhart responds, water? What do you mean by that? I don't understand it. This is what a fish would say if it had a human mind. So again, it's talking about being is just, it is like it. That's like what we were saying earlier. You're saying,
yeah,
that's
just think about like questioning air and all that. Like, I mean, you don't question what air is and why is it there, how you I need to understand air. You just in it.
Right. It just is.
Yeah.
And he says further, please stop trying to understand being. You have already had significant glimpses of being, but the mind will always try to squeeze it into a little box and then put a label on it. It cannot be done. It cannot become an object of knowledge. In being, subject and object merge into one. So So again, being is something that your mind will never, ever, ever be able to comprehend.
I got a question though. I always got questions. But could you kind of, and this, I guess this is my mind working here, but could you basically put being and experience as like kind of synonymous?
Being and experience.
Yeah.
So experience, just life experience? Like, what do you...
Yeah, it's just every waking moment, every second of the day, every period of now is an experience. So with that, that's where being is. It's like, it's in the experience.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I'm just thinking, like, if you was just to replace being with experience, would it make it kind of a little bit easier for someone to digest that?
Maybe. But don't get hung up on the words, is what Eckhart says later.
Yeah, we don't get there.
Yeah. But if experience makes it make more sense to you, then yeah, sure. Yeah. But I agree, because in every moment is being. And so the journey is you experiencing life in moments. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so jump into page 108. When, he's just, so Eckhart is reiterating throughout, just like being is when you're deeply rooted in your inner body and you are in that state of enlightenment, you become free. So the questioner asks, this is at the top of 108, free from what? So Eckhart's response is, free from the illusion that you are nothing more than your physical body and your mind. This illusion of the self, as the Buddha calls it, is the core error. Free from fear in its countless disguises as the inevitable consequence of that illusion. The fear that is your constant tormentor as long as you derive your sense of self only from the ephemeral and vulnerable form. And free
yeah, I don't know that word.
And free from sin, which is the suffering you unconsciously inflict on yourself and others, as long as this illusory, good Lord, sense of self governs what you think, say, and do. Basically, when you're in a state of illusion, you're going to inflict pain on yourself, you're inflicting suffering on yourself, and that in turn, you manifest it out. So you make that reality a reality outside yourself as well, and then you inflict that same pain and suffering on other people, which he talks about in earlier chapters. I think that was the last chapter he was talking about.
Trying to remember it.
Yeah, whichever chapter it was that we spoke about that. So yeah, so anyway, becoming deeply rooted in yourself, you become detached from the illusion. That's basically what he's saying there. And so here we are going down in the middle, look beyond the words, the title of that section. And the questioner is saying, I don't like the word sin. It implies that I am being judged and found guilty. And Eckhart explains that he understands that there's been all these misunderstandings about the word and all that, but he states a word is no more than a means to an end. It's an abstraction. So meaning, don't get stuck on the words, don't get stuck on the labels of like sin and whatever, because it does, incite guilt or whatever, because that's what we've been told and conditioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, because I think where he's getting at is that the words itself is meaningless without the actual, not necessarily the definition, but the truth that is directing you to.
Yeah. That's the whole point. It's like, it doesn't matter so much about the word. It's about the truth that it points to.
Yeah, it's like saying tomato, tomato. It's like that.
Yeah.
You know what we mean, right? When we say tomato, tomato. So yeah.
Right. So in that same paragraph at the bottom of 108, he says the word honey isn't honey. You can study and talk about honey for as long as you like, but you won't really know it until you taste it. After you have tasted it, the word becomes less important to you. You won't be attached to it anymore. Similarly, you can talk or think about God continuously for the rest of your life. But does that mean you know or have even glimpsed the reality to which the word points? It really is no more than an obsessive attachment to a signpost, a mental idol. I thought that was so important.
Yeah.
You just getting, as humans, we just get too attached to a certain word or a certain thing or a certain image, and then we lose it. It loses its meaning, like its true meaning, and we don't experience it.
Right.
We rather have the label, and then we use that to judge it and try to categorize it and try to, like, our mind tries to make sense of it. And then in essence, it takes out the true nature of that thing. Right. Which you can only experience.
Yeah. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, where I feel like I would rather hear like the source as a replacement of God, because it takes the image that was placed by religion and all of that stuff out of it takes that image out my mind, and it goes to more of a greater, it feels like it just takes the image out of my mind, and it's more of just like the experience aspect of it, is because you only can get that from within, that deeper connection. So I like the source kind of better, because it takes that connotation out.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, if God works for you, then that, and I mean I use God, but I feel like I don't have an image of a man or anything that pops in my head. It's like more of a light. Yeah. That's for me. So it's, or like a source, energy source. Right. That kind of thing. But yeah, that's interesting. So he also mentions on 109 further, he's saying that it could go the opposite direction. So he's like, if for whatever reason you disliked the word honey, that might prevent you from ever tasting it. If you had a strong aversion to the word God, which is a negative form of attachment, you may be denying not just the word, but also the reality to which it points. You would be cutting yourself off from the possibility of experiencing that reality. All this is, of course, intrinsically. Oh my God. Yo, listen.
You over here flexing with the vocabulary.
No, it's not even that though. Okay, let me finish that sentence. Connected with being identified with your mind. Guys, okay, just pause for a second. You know when you'll be reading and you're fine, but somehow when you start reading in front of people, all of a sudden you be stammering over stuff and you're like, what is going on? Like, yeah, it keeps happening to me.
You know what? I found
through these podcast episodes, and I'm like, this is embarrassing.
I found that me reading to our son every night really helps me with being able to read out loud. Okay. I also read to our son. But for me, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's just this. It's different because it's not Daniel or anything like. It's not. Well, it's an easier read.
Yeah. But also, I feel like I'm trying to process as I'm reading at the same time. Oh. So it's like, if it's a word that throws me off, then that's where it just get all crazy. But yeah, guys, forgive me. I swear, I promise you, I'm not.
She's a great reader. She's an editor, in fact.
Okay, yeah. Which makes it even more embarrassing. Oh my God, guys, I don't anyway, whatever. So that was just a side note. I had to address that because my God. Yeah. So anyway, just saying that attachment to the word and what feelings and things you've attached to the word instead of the actual experience can go in a negative way or it can go in a positive way, but either way, it's still false. Yeah. That's a false attachment. That's what I took from that. So then, jumping down on 109, I laughed at this as well. The questioner says, I don't like these words either. They imply that there is something wrong with me. I am being judged. And it's when Eckhart was talking about insanity and unconsciousness, sin, things like that. So that was the response. And then Eckhart's response was, of course there's something wrong with you and you are not being judged. Like, I laughed at that because it's like, yes, you're insane. Like, humans are insane because our mind.
By nature, we are insane.
By nature, we are, well, by conditioning, we are insane. I wouldn't say by nature. By nature, we were made.
So, by nurture, we are insane.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
By nurture.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep. So anyway, on page 110 on the top, again, he's talking about what happens when you are run by your mind, run by your ego, and a collective insanity happens. And so he says in that first paragraph, open your eyes and see the fear, the despair, the greed, and the violence that are all pervasive. See the heinous cruelty and suffering on an unimaginable scale that humans have inflicted and continue to inflict on each other as well as on other life forms on the planet. You don't need to condemn, just observe. That is sin. That is insanity. That is unconsciousness. Above all, don't forget to observe your own mind. Seek out the root of the insanity there. So it's like, we're all insane. And the root of stopping that insanity is looking at your own self. Because whatever is going on in you is reflecting out. So, yeah, I thought that was important.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because he's saying you are only responsible for your own actions. You are only responsible for you. Mm-hmm. So the faster that everyone looks within and fix what's within them, the faster the world will get better as humans collectively.
Yeah. And I mean, we see the collective insanity every day.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
All around
Absolutely.
us. Ooh. So
I can't fathom it, but I don't know if I don't think it's me to understand. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is the understanding. You know, the things that we're talking about now and reading about and processing, like that's the understanding of what's manifesting in the world always. But
like seeing outward and trying to understand what's out there, like the insanity in other people, is what I'm saying. Is kind of like, it's not my.
No, but you understand it because you understand the insanity of you.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So once you know that you're insane and that, you know, the traps of the mind and all that, then you will see it reflected in other people.
Yeah.
Because all connected.
Right, you're right. Because you see things differently when you get a grasp of what Eckhart is talking about, and you really do see, like, you tend to self-reflect a lot more when you see stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so I want to jump to page 111, and he's talking about, you know, what he's teaching is not set to make you believe. So he says, underneath your form, so this is at the top, of 111. He says, underneath your outer form, you are connected with something so vast, so immeasurable and sacred that it cannot be conceived or spoken of. Yet I am speaking of it now. I'm speaking of it not to give you something to believe in, but to show you how you can know it for yourself. So again, he's like, to me, that it's like he's using all the signposts, which are the words, to point you
in the direction
of the truth. Like that's what he's doing.
And it's up to you to take heed or not, basically.
Yeah, which he talks about later. Like if you are in that place of connectedness, you'll know that you'll know the truth out of this. If you're not there yet, a good way to get there is through the body. Physical body.
Okay, physical body.
Yes, physical body, which you get to the inner body through the physical body. So he talks about that later. So we'll get to that shortly. But another part that stood out to me was the second paragraph, like towards the middle of it starting. But he says, your whole sense of who you are is then derived from mind activity. Your identity as it is no longer rooted in being becomes a vulnerable and ever needy mental construct, which creates fear as the predominant underlying emotion. The one thing that truly matters is then missing from your life, awareness of your deeper self, your invisible and indestructible reality. So again, as soon as you're not rooted in your being, as soon as you're not rooted in your inner body and in your inner self, then you run the risk of being taken over by your mind. And it's super needy. So it'll always be clawing for your attention.
Oh my goodness.
So that's
like I noticed that when we was talking about this chapter earlier, and I noticed how easy I was like trapped in my mind and all of my thoughts and stuff over the last few days. Mm-hmm. And it really sneaks up on you and you don't realize it. It's crazy how easy you can get like stuck in there. Right.
And he talks about how to get out of that right in that next paragraph of the effective way to get out of that is by going into the body. So he says, directed into the body where being can be felt in the first instance as the invisible energy field that gives life to what you perceive as the physical body. So that's how you get out of that trap of the compulsive thinking, is to go into your body.
All right. I know he talks about how to do that in detail.
Yes, the exercise, which he talks about on 112, which is basically you close your eyes and you focus on your body, and you like focus on different body parts. You just feel. Yeah, that's the key there. You feel the vibrational force that's going within you. So you feel that in your hands, like your feet, then your legs, your stomach. You start connecting it all together, and then you just stay focused on that. And it's okay if your mind wanders, if you start having thoughts or whatever, like that's okay. But all you gotta do when you notice that happening, just go back to the body. And that is you connecting and you feeling your inner body, the true essence of you. And Ryan did not do the exercise.
That's why I've been trying to my mind for the last 2 days.
I actually do this periodically, and sometimes it's like it'll just be random where I'll just take a moment where I'm like I'll feel like tingling in my hand, and I'll just focus on that, and it'll just like radiate all throughout. So
that's a good way to like kind of remind. Like I think I'm gonna use that with itching, because when you itch, it's like something you gotta like address it right then and there. So if you itch, like if your nose itch or something like that, instead of scratching it immediately, use that to focus your attention on the nose and feel all of that feeling. I guess it may work.
It might. But I think
it'll drive me crazy that I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna scratch it.
I think you should do the exercise that he said specifically. I think everybody should try it. It is very calming, and it does, like, for me, it's like wow, like you really do feel like, because I mean, you don't normally do that. You're just walking around doing stuff. We're not really paying attention to our body when you really think about it. Yeah. So when you have that moment of like, that is what you're focusing on, and you're feeling beyond the physical. You're feeling the inner. Yeah. Which is.
Do you feel? I don't know how this feels, but do you feel centered?
Yeah.
Afterward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like.
For a few seconds. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't last a whole long time, because then my thoughts come back.
Yeah. I mean,
all that.
If you were able to describe the feeling of centered, how would you describe it?
It's definitely calm. And like as I was describing, like the tingling in my hand, it'll start like a tingling. And then it's like, all of a sudden it feels like it's radiating. I can't describe it.
Do the tingling like expand? Like,
yeah, it'll go from like if it starts in my hand, like I said, it'll go to my arm, and then I'll start feeling it everywhere, like just bit by bit.
So
just feel it everywhere,
it
and then
it don't move in like concentrated spots. Like it don't just go up your hand and through your arm and to your shoulder or nothing. But it just like kind of.
I don't know. You got to experience it for yourself.
Okay.
And it's different each. Like for me, it's different each time, because it'll start in a different place in my body sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I have to try it.
Yeah, he was supposed to. That's what the reading instructed. But whatever. Yeah, so try that out. Yeah, it's a good practice to get you back centered. Again, like I said, I'll be centered for a second and then mine starts racing, but
yeah, I think
it's good for a moment.
I think probably for me, I'm gonna need to put it in my phone as like a reminder. I'm thinking of setting it like at least twice a day. That'll be a good. It's kind of start off and center, and then midway in the day, center again.
Yeah, or you can just start once a day.
Yeah, I'll start once.
Like, and it really doesn't take that long. Like, you can just do a couple minutes, maybe not even that, 30 seconds, whatever. But I usually start with just closing my eyes, breathing, and then that breath really takes me in, like kind of calms my mind, and then I start just focusing on like what I'm feeling in my body.
Yeah, he talks about that too. Later.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the exercise that he had. Let me see. Yeah, 114. That whole middle paragraph I put in here.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a question centered on that?
What, the middle part?
Yeah, or well, anyway, what he talks about in the middle paragraph is he talks about how religion has taught to disassociate from your body. Like, you want to be away from your body. You're not your body. That belief. And that has led to, so he says, I'll just read it. He says, this took the form of denial of sense pleasures and of sexuality, in particular fasting and other ascetic practices. They even inflicted pain on the body in an attempt to weaken or punish it because they regarded it as sinful. In Christianity, this used to be called mortification of the flesh. Others tried to escape from the body by entering trance states or seeking out-of-body experiences. Many still do. Even the Buddha is said to have practiced body denial through fasting and extreme forms of asceticism for 6 years, but he did not attain enlightenment until after he had given up this practice. So what he's saying is, to come to a place of enlightenment and consciousness, you have to go through the body. You are, even though we are not, our true essence is not our mind or our body, we are in our body.
Yeah.
So to deny our body, that is to deny the experience that we're supposed to be having.
True. Yeah, I posed the question. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. So basically, I was just asking, so would this, so, damn, sorry. All right, so I just said, does this mean to satisfy the desires of the body?
Wait, you're saying, is Eckhart saying that? You're asking?
Yes. So, yeah, it's just like, okay, so if we don't fast and do all of that stuff to deny the body, so do we satisfy the body? Like, do we satisfy what it wants?
Yeah, I don't think he gives an answer to that. I don't think that's where he, like, to me, it seems like that's not where he's intending for the conversation to go. It's more so not being in denial of it. The things that your body experiences, not denying that, like, I'm not that. And then because my body is having those experiences, I'm going to punish it because it is not supposed to have these urges or these feelings or whatever. So need to be punished for it. And so that's like taking you away from your body. Like you're completely trying to disassociate from your body. Like not my body at all. Like the flesh is complete sin. I'm not in any way, shape, or form my body.
Man, the question was it made a lot more sense to me. Well, it made it. I think I had a better understanding of what I was trying to ask when I had the initial thought. But it's like almost like based on that, like you using fasting, you using the punishment aspect to get a deeper enlightenment, according to the religion, to get a deeper enlightenment and some sort of closeness with God. But since that's not the case, according to Eckhart, if you don't deny the body, then I would guess you would eat, you would satisfy the desires of the body, which in turns gives you an experience of being, right? I would think, or turn that it would just enhance the being aspect, because it's not something you necessarily are fighting against. It's just something that you experience. It's just life in general.
As a human. In a human body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if this is like I really can't interpret that, but like you denying your human nature experience, basically, when you do all of this fasting and you doing all of the mortification and all of that stuff, because the body wants what it wants just by nature. I don't know if this is making any
sense.
Yeah,
no, it's making sense. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, so would that mean satisfy what the body wants? Because in turns, that will make you more connected with your body, which in turns can make you more connected with your inner body.
Yeah, but I guess there would be a caution there, of course, because all of that stuff could turn into
an identification.
Well, yeah, with material things, yeah, identification, but also a numbing.
Oh, yeah.
You want to drink.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You want to eat all this stuff. You want to have a bunch of sex.
Yeah.
You want to whatever. That's where it could also. So it's just like, what is that? I guess the true question would be like, what is the balance there? And I guess you would fulfill your body's desires and things, but coming from a state of consciousness.
Okay.
So what would that look like?
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
I guess that would be like the.
Yeah.
No, I know what your question. Your question was clear.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a good answer. Basically, because I mean at the end of the day, you don't, like you were saying, if you satisfy all that, then it could turn for the worse as well, because now you are getting you get this association or this other self-identity thing with food or sex, or any other material form. So you can't it is something to proceed with caution type of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, and just the overall message I just get is just that the denial is not what's going to get you closer.
Yeah.
To God and to your inner self.
Yeah. So it's basically like, we know it ain't gonna work. Pretty much.
Yeah.
According to what he's talking about.
Right. So, I mean, he talks about this a little more on page 116 in the section Sermon on the Body. So at the bottom of the first paragraph leading into the second paragraph. So he says, do not turn your attention elsewhere in your search for the truth, for it is nowhere else to be found but within your body. Do not fight against the body, for in doing so you are fighting against your own reality. You are your body. The body that you can see and touch is only a thin, illusory veil. Underneath it lies the invisible inner body, the doorway into being, into life unmanifested. Through the inner body, you are inseparably connected to this unmanifested one life, birthless, deathless, eternally present. Through the inner body, you are forever one with God. So again, he's saying don't fight the body. Like, you're in a constant battle with the body. That's not going to get you anywhere. You all right over there?
I had to kind of skim through it again because I wanted to make sure that it was clear on which body he was talking about.
Okay, so this part. Okay, so when he says do not fight the body, I'm taking that as physical body.
Okay.
For in doing so, you are fighting against your own reality. Your physical body is your reality here on earth. So when you fight your body, you're fighting your reality. Oh. You're fighting your real life experience.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he says you are your body. And you know, we can see and touch it. It's an illusion veil, but yeah, it's real. Right?
It's as real as the earth is, basically.
Yeah. Your invisible body is the inner body. The doorway into being is what he says. So your inner body, he says, through the inner body, you are forever one with God. You cannot get connected to to your inner body without acknowledging your real body. As in your physical body. Your physical body is the temple that is holding your inner body.
So I'm curious, and I guess this is another thing with the words thing, because I want to see if any. I'm sure probably other people will have this question too. Would the inner body could be categorized or synonymous with spirit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just going into like Christianity, the Baptists and all of that, like, you know, when they talk about the Holy Spirit, is that being more connected with your inner body? Feeling the Holy Spirit, is that being more connected with the inner body? Or is that more of trying to be connected with the source? I wonder if, like, every time, like, we get to, like, close to the end, I come up with these really really good questions.
I mean, I definitely think it's trying to be closer to the source. See, I don't want to speak. I don't really want to. I don't know, because I can't say based on someone else's experience.
Yeah.
Of where that comes from.
It's more of just, I know. I'm asking you as more of how do you interpret it? Like, what is your kind of like your reaction or your gut feeling about it? Like, do that make sense to you, or is it something else? Just based on how you've been.
Wait, does what exactly make sense to me?
Like the question, like, make it like the Holy Spirit, is that the source, or is that the inner body? Like, feeling the Holy Spirit, is that being connected with the source, or is that being connected with the inner body?
I see what you're saying. I think that's the source.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like you won't feel that source connection unless you're connected internally.
Got it.
Okay. I think I misunderstood what you were saying at first.
Okay.
Yeah. So he talks deeper about the body as well. On page 118, I'm just gonna kind of jumping around. In the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth paragraph, so in the middle, he says, unless you stay present and inhabiting your body is always an essential aspect of it, you will continue to be run by your mind. The script in your head that you learned a long time ago, the conditioning of your mind, will dictate your thinking and your behavior. You may be free of it for brief intervals, but rarely for long. This is especially true when something goes wrong or there is some loss or upset. Your conditioned reaction will then be involuntary, automatic, and predictable, fueled by the one basic emotion that underlies the mind-identified state of consciousness: fear. So again, the key to it's like he's reiterating that the key to getting out of your mind is to stay connected to your body.
As in
your
feeling.
Physical body, which leads to your inner body. So if you're feeling your physical body, like really feeling your physical body,
just pay attention a lot more than what you normally are. Yeah,
it'll get you in tune with feeling your inner body.
Okay.
It's like that exercise that he was saying, like you're feeling, like just focus on your body. So that gets you out of your mind.
Okay. And it's crazy. It don't take much to get there. It's just that extra. It's like that one little bit of extra push to feel, and then boom, you there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it takes practice. Like the more you practice it, the easier it's going to be, and the more you're going to stay rooted in that.
I was wondering, like, if you were to like have an object, like a stress ball, for instance, like, could you do the exercise having a stress ball?
Like, as you squeeze the stress ball?
Yeah, you squeeze the stress ball, or you just like have it in your hand and you focus the feeling and all of that in the stress ball, and kind of like almost like like training wheels type of thing.
Maybe that's why it helps some people.
Okay.
But I think the whole point is you are taking your mind out of the other physical, outside physical world. You're focusing on your own body. Okay. Which leads you to feeling your inner body.
So I guess the other stuff like stress ball or looking at the trees and all of that will be like more of an advanced thing.
Advanced?
Yeah. Like, because earlier in the book he was talking about if you look at trees, or like you walk and you looking around without the labels, you don't label anything, you just look as it is. It seemed like it'll take a little bit more practice and being connected to look at something without the judgment, without the science aspect of it.
What does that have to do with the stress ball though?
Because
like squeezing the stress ball,
you will look at the stress ball and you're like, this is a stress ball. Versus just like closing your eyes and you just kind of, you take a lot of the senses out, but the touch,
Oh, yeah. I guess.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I'm trying to get through this. Page 119. Again, he talks about needing to be deeply rooted in your body, and he talks about the analogy that Jesus talks about, and he says the latter analogy is used by Jesus in the generally misunderstood parable of the two men who build a house. One man builds it on the sand without a foundation, and when the storms and floods come, the house is swept away. The other man digs deep until he reaches the rock, then builds his house, which is not swept away by the floods. So the more deeply rooted you are, the more centered you are, the less likely you are to be swept away into thoughts and to be swept away and, away from your body and away from your center, because you're deeply rooted. So
basically, the more you practice with the thing he was talking about,
right,
the less likely you will be consumed by the mind.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yep. Yep. So
I'm really curious to how that will feel. Like, just you being so centered, you so interconnected with yourself that your brain doesn't really affect you like that anymore. You gotta feel it, like just the thought of it feels free.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's why I love meditation so much. I mean, deep, like breathing exercises, meditation, and the exercise that he talks about of feeling your body. Those three things I feel like are the portal to getting to that place, for sure. And so your assignment for this week is to do it.
Yeah, I definitely gotta do that. I have to. for my sanity, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but before you do that, he says, before you enter the body, forgive. So you must forgive.
Oh, that was a nice little
yes.
little transition there.
Yes. So in the middle of 119, he's talking about, that in order to go deeply into your body, you must forgive. And I thought that was just so important. And then on, let me see. He talks about if you're having any grievances or any self-pity or resentment, that is feeding the emotion, and that's going to stop you from being connected because you're trapped in your mind. And that's with forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. And he says on 121 at the top, he says, the moment you truly forgive, you have reclaimed your power from the mind. Non-forgiveness is the very nature of the mind. Just as the mind made false self, the ego cannot survive without strife and conflict. The mind cannot forgive, only you can. You become present, you enter your body, you feel the vibrant peace and stillness that emanate from being. That is why Jesus said, before you enter the temple, forgive. And I thought that was just so clever to put that there. Yeah. Because what I've always imagined when I heard that of like, before you enter the temple, forgive, it's the physical place of church or the physical. And I don't know, maybe I just misinterpreted that my whole life. I don't know. Or if it was just taught to me that, I don't know.
It could be just taught that way. Because,
I don't know where it came from, but
I mean, it sounds, it's so implied that it's a physical place to go to.
But it's like, no, your temple, as in the body is a temple, that temple.
Yeah.
Like,
what's funny is that, like, every time I hear temple, I think of like a pyramid or, something like that too.
Yeah.
I used to think
that
like
pops
pyramid.
in my head sometimes too, which is weird. Like, where does that come from?
Well, I did have a question in regards to that. In the whole temple thing, like you were talking about, your body is your temple. It refers back to the mortification part, and it's like if your body is your temple, why would fasting and mortification be a good thing?
Yeah, and my thought with that is that it's not a good thing. It's meant to be punishment. But you're saying, why is that put in practice?
Yeah, why is it put in practice if your body is a temple, is you are supposed to take care of it. You're doing like self-inflicting damage to the very temple that you're supposed to protect.
I think the morality has been that your body is a temple, so you shall not sin. So if you sin, you get punished because your flesh is the sin. So you punish the flesh for sinning. And it's like,
okay,
if that made sense.
Yeah, it does. It's like if you go to a party and you're on punishment, then when you get found out, you get punished, kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, so, it's like.
So real quick, sorry. So, hold on. So fasting is indeed a punishment.
I don't think.
Or is the mortification part?
I think it's more about discipline, but it's not. It's like having that discipline of your body, so you are in control of your body.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes more sense. Okay.
And I can't speak deeply on that.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to say in the comments if they,
right. It's just kind of I agree based on the logic of the act of fasting? Like, it's just, I want to ask the question to make sure that I get a clearer understanding and the connection between the two things. Like, your body is your temple, but you fast, or you mortify yourself. I have no idea what that is, like what mortification entails, but it's just kind of a question. Like, if it's something that's self-inflicting pain, why do that if the very temple that you have is something that you should be protecting?
Yeah, I think it's more so looked at that your body and your flesh is of sin. What you're protecting is supposedly
your inner body.
Is your spirit, your soul, the inner body.
Okay, so when they say your body is your temple, it's not your physical body, it's your inner body, your spirit.
Well, I think your body is your temple is meaning it's housing the spirit.
Oh, okay.
Which is the right way to think, right?
Yeah.
Is housing the spirit. That's cool.
Yeah.
But what he's saying, and the problem is that becomes so disassociated from your body that you end up doing things that torture it, and that does not bring you to better enlightenment. Right. You're in this body for a reason.
Yeah.
And we are on earth as a human in a body.
Yeah.
So to negate that is like you're really truly fighting the reality that you're supposed to be living.
Right.
So I think it just, again, it's that, misinterpretation of, what that's supposed to mean. Like when Eckhart says that you're not your body. Here, it sounds like he's contradicting himself because he's saying you are your body. But what he's saying is, yeah, your body is real. It's physical. Like, this is physical. It's the house to your inner body, which is your true self, your true essence, the true connection to the source.
Would his statement be clarified as your body is part of you? Or would that be a sense of identification?
A sense of identification. I don't even think what he's saying is your body is your reality. Okay. So it's part of your experience. It's part of your journey.
It's the gateway to the physical realm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what we're housed in right now to experience the physical world.
So everybody, your body is your crib. That's your house. It's your temple. That's your spot.
The spot that you can't escape from except for...
You can't escape. Dang.
Well...
well, you can, but... no, don't do that.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I wasn't even... Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Okay. But I
went too far. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can't even remember what your original question was.
It was the mortification.
Why is that? Yeah. Why is that seen as a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's... Yeah, what all we just said. Is there anything else in this chapter that you that really stood out? Or I think you had another question, because we're running out of time here and I don't want to go too far over as we've been doing.
It's at the end on the art of listening, where
page
126. So in this section he was talking about how you listen to someone else.
Oh yes.
By being
yes
as you are present.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that you don't listen with listen with your mind, you listen with your whole body. It's just more of a clarification question, and it's how do you listen with your whole body? Like what would something, so as you hearing that, what would you do to listen with your whole body versus your mind?
Maybe you should read that.
I gotta read it.
Yep.
Let me see.
So I would read this from the bottom of 126 through the end of the first paragraph.
Feel the energy field of your inner body as you listen. That takes attention away from thinking.
No. Start from the beginning. So when listening to another person, don't just listen with your mind. Listen with your whole body. Go ahead.
Feel the energy field of your body, your inner body as you listen. That takes attention away from the thinking and creates a still space that enables you to truly listen without the mind interfering. So basically you do the exercise as you listen to someone.
Yeah, I'm gonna just finish reading that because
I missed some part.
Just the whole thing. You are given the other person space to be. It is the most precious gift you can give. Most people don't know how to listen because the major part of their attention is taken up by thinking. They pay more attention to that than to what the other person is saying, and none at all to what really matters, the being of the other person underneath the words in the mind. Of course, you cannot feel someone else's being except through your own. This is the beginning of the realization of oneness, which is love. At the deepest level of being, you are one with all that is. So in thinking of like the exercise, like you're staying present in your body, right? So you're connected with that inner body, and so you're anchored, you're rooted there. So when you're listening to someone talking, you're centered. So your mind, you're not stuck in your mind with, normally we're all in our mind. We're thinking of the next thing to say or to respond or what to do, or like judging the person, what they're saying, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So when you're staying centered, you're connecting with them through the oneness of being. So you're seeing them and hearing them and holding that space for them with love to just talk to you. And you're listening, but you're listening to the being underneath the words. Did that make sense?
Yeah, I was actually trying to practice that as you were talking.
Oh, okay. And how'd that go?
It felt like I had a dumbfounded look on my face. Like I'm like just spacing out.
Okay, so you're not supposed to space out.
No, I'm trying. I was like feeling like I was putting attention, like my mental attention to my hand, where like I'm like just trying to feel inner and listening, trying to listen to my whole body. Yeah.
And again, it's funny because like I was just saying, we often listen with our mind. And in order to escape the mind, a way to do that is to be connected with your body. So once you're rooted there, then you can actually connect with a person deeper than on the mind level.
Yeah. I'm trying it again. I gotta practice.
Yeah. You need to practice the exercise first, and then maybe get into that.
That's it. That's advanced right there. Advanced level.
Yeah. But another piece on 127, still on that second full paragraph, the last paragraph. It says most human relationships consist mainly of minds interacting with each other, not of human beings communicating, being in communion. No relationship can thrive in that way, and that is why there is so much conflict in relationships. When the mind is running your life, conflict, strife, and problems are inevitable. Being in touch with your inner body creates a clear space of no mind within which the relationship can flower. So it's like you can't even fully have relationships grow without coming from a centered place. And I totally get that, because if your mind's always racing, your mind is always thinking of the next thing to say or how to respond or whatever, or they're judging the person, or they're feeling attacked by the person or whatever. It's like, how can you connect with somebody deeply?
You can't. The egos have a relationship.
The egos have a relationship, right? But the inner being doesn't. The mind is too much in the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is it's a good way to conclude.
Right. Yes. Something to think about for sure. But
do you think about it or
no? Yeah. Don't think about it. It's something to not think about. It's something to experience and to be rooted in. My God.
It's something to be.
It's something to be. I am. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for listening to all my stammering and being patient with me.
You good. You good. You good.
But yeah, so let us know what you guys thought of this chapter, of this episode, if anything stood out to you guys. You can find all of our information in the info box of the video.
Yep.
And also information for the music is there as well.
Yeah, all the information is down in the description. Currently, I am revamping the website, so it might be down as you hear this, but it will be back up soon. And like I said, all of the music that you listen to, I've done it. And if you are interested, you can hit me up on any of my social media platforms if the website is not up yet. But when it is, you can go to tracksinfinite.com and check everything out there.
All right. Until next time, y'all, be safe. Sending out love to y'all. And we out.
Peace, y'all.